Hey everybody, Bull to the Bust. It is JJ. It is June 23rd, Tuesday. Good evening to everyone. Today was a green day. Today was a green day in the markets with the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and the S&P 500 all eking out gains, but the big story in my opinion is the breakout in gold. Now it's not a very huge breakout yet, and this is a year-to-date high. Also, it's an 8-year high. So we can see that the confidence is actually flowing into the gold and precious metals and out of the dollar. Now, a lot of people are still hoarding dollars and heavily invested in cash because there are people that are waiting for the next round of deflation. Remember, when all the stimulus runs out, when they pull the rug out from under this support that they're giving the economy and the people right now, there's going to be deflation. But people are starting to hedge more for that massive hyperinflation that may be a little bit further down the road, but nonetheless it's going to be here at some point. So I think if you're not at least beginning to hedge a little bit, maybe 5-10% of your overall position into precious metals, I think you're absolutely crazy, because we can see the price movement here and the new breakouts. Now remember, gold is at all-time highs in most other currencies except the US dollar. And there have been some countries where their currency has absolutely collapsed, and gold is now priced in those currencies in millions of dollars. Just look at Venezuela, the gold price in Zimbabwe in millions of dollars because of the hyperinflation and the destruction of their currency. But even in countries where the currency hasn't been completely destroyed, most of the world's countries are now seeing gold at all-time highs, and the US is going to be following very soon with over $2,000 in my opinion by the end of 2020. And we also think silver is going to be on a percentage wise basis also moving up the same as gold. Of course not to $2,000, but as a percentage gain I think it's going to be even as much or bigger than the moves we're going to see in gold. Recent article here out of the Wall Street Journal: the key support for the economy may be about to buckle. All of that stimulus cash could be about to run out. So we're going to soon have the end of the $600 unemployment bonus. And as this article points out, most of the stimulus checks have already been spent. And Americans that are getting these $600 bonuses on top of their unemployment payout are going to see those end at the end of July. Now, the way things are going, who knows, maybe they'll come out with a new round of stimulus at the same time. We know that the president was out there recently saying there's going to be another round of stimulus checks, and it's looking like about $1,200 per person. And if you want to believe what the president says or not, that is what he said. Now, speaking of the president, I just wanted to touch really briefly on a topic. A couple videos ago, this one right here, we talked very briefly about the attendance at the rally there for the president and how the attendance was very low. And I said, well, people probably don't want to go to the rally because they don't want to hear the president brag about the stock market when so many people are out of jobs right now. And I said something like, well, people didn't want to pay to go see the president. Well, it turns out I need to correct myself. The tickets were free to get in. There was no cost. But that looks even worse because the president couldn't fill up that arena even with free ticket prices. Now, there's a lot of Trumpeteers that came out, gave me thumbs down and beat me up in comments, saying that I'm against the president and all this stuff. That's not at all what's happening. I'm against multinational corporations getting unlimited bailouts, while the people, when it comes to getting a $1,200 stimulus check, we have to go through months and months of watching politicians battle back and forth. Right? It's not anything to do with the president or this president. It's all presidents. It's all politicians. It's the entire system. If you haven't noticed, this is not about one particular person. This whole financial system is absolutely against the working class and for the corporate elites that basically run everything. And yes, it all starts at the monopoly men, the funny money bankers, the fiat currency financiers that are actually at the very top of this pyramid. And that's what it is, essentially. It's a pyramid scheme. So no, it's not about being against the president. I'm against his policies. I'm against running up unlimited amounts of debt, and yet we still have homeless people dying on the street. And look at that latest video. I think it was New York, where a homeless person got set on fire. It's just absolutely sickening, what's happening in this country right now. But no politician wants to talk about it. So no, it's not just about this president, it's about the entire system. And many people are starting to feel it, and that's why I think that's one of the reasons for the low attendance. Of course, there's many other reasons. There were protests happening. There was a lot of danger outside the venue from what I hear. There's also people scared of the illness. But people are feeling the overall impact. Americans, recent study here, Americans are putting off traditional goals like marriage and having kids for financial security. Right? And this is a trend when the economy starts taking a dive. People, even without families, are having a hard time getting by right now. There are actually people living out of their vehicles, people that are homeless, that do not have any dependents. All they have is themselves to worry about. And even they cannot keep up with the rising rents, the rising cost of living, all of the fees, the taxes, just the basic things that most people have to pay for. For example, here in California, it was $300 just to register my vehicle for 1 year. Right? The working class is being absolutely devastated, and I don't see any politician out there really doing much to change it. I see the rich getting richer, and under this president, the rich have gotten richer faster and to a larger degree than any other president before him. And it's not going to stop here. The next president, it'll probably get worse, it'll probably get worse, it'll probably get worse, until ultimately the U.S. is going to be just like a third world country, and some parts of the U.S. are already looking like a third world country. Recent article here, this is out of Fox5ny.com. Americans lack emergency savings during pandemic. We told you this was coming. We warned you about this for years. People said we were fearmongers. Right? Most people in the U.S. do not save money. Now, yes, it's largely the people's fault. People should be saving money. But look at the system that we're all in right now. It's very damaging to save money, because you see all these people go out there, the ones that get the loans, their home doubles in price in 5 or 10 years. A lot of people get in, they sell at the right time, they make a lot of money, so it's very tempting to get into the stock market, to get into the housing market, hoping for these large gains. But when the music stops, it's the people that bought in at the end from the fear of missing out, from the FOMO. Those are the people that are going to be burned. And there's a lot of people jumping into these markets right now very late in the game, if you ask me. So yes, people are disincentivized from savings. You're lucky to get 0.5% on your savings if you put it in the bank, so it's another reason why people are not saving. Also, a lot of people just feel hopeless. They can't change the system. There's no politician out there talking about major structural changes to the system. So people are just like, okay, I'm just going to go spend money. I'm just going to enjoy my life. A lot of people have just accepted that they're going to be in debt forever, and there's no use of even fighting against it. So that's another reason people are just going to not save. But there are a lot of people now that are regretting that decision, because things fell apart so fast and there were so many job losses. Right? There was very few people, except for this channel that you're listening to right now and a few other people on YouTube, that predicted a major collapse. Now, we didn't know what was going to cause it, but we did know there was going to be some sort of scapegoat put out there to take the blame for the fall. Remember, the people running this, the fiat money bankers, the money masters, the monopoly men, they are not going to point at themselves as the cause of this. Right? There's always going to be the finger pointed somewhere else, and that way they can keep control, keep power, and keep that printing press all for themselves. Right? I think most of you know this by now, but I just wanted to clarify a few things in this video, because there was a lot of more negative sentiment than that other video earlier. All right, but at the same time, if you just put the blame on the banking system, I think that's a false narrative also. You also have to look at the foolish spending of people in the United States. Right? We go out and we throw our money at millionaires. We have ball players, we have movie stars that make millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. Why? Because consumers give their money away to these people. They go and pay $20 to watch a movie. They'll buy season tickets, $600, $700, $800 to go watch a sports team, go watch a bunch of people run around on a field, right? And I like watching sports too. It's exciting, I get it, but I'm not going to go out and spend $800 on season tickets to watch a bunch of millionaires. I'll watch it for free, maybe on YouTube. I'll just watch the highlights, right? But people love wasting money and people love taking vacations. I get it. It's a fun thing to do. But now look at people are regretting their financial decisions. And also a lot of people never thought anything bad would happen. People were fed all of these lies, all of this propaganda about how the economy was so good. Well, if the economy was so good, why do about 30% of people now, why are they not paying their rent? And why do we have 100 million loans now in some sort of forbearance? Right? Why do we have to have moratoriums on foreclosures if the economy was doing so good? If the American people had so much money, well, you know, it's all a big lie. People would be able to get by a few months without a paycheck if everything was that good. Well, the truth is things are great for the corporations. The big 30 corporations and the Dow Jones are doing fine. The top 10% is doing better than ever. Again, they've gained more wealth under this president than any other president in history. But the bottom 90%, especially the bottom 25%, not doing so good, and that is the problem. And just wait until you see tent cities, who knows, probably popping up right on your block where you live. Pretty soon you won't be able to drive 2 or 3 blocks without seeing a tent or some homeless people. It's absolutely insane the direction this country's headed. I think we're going to need a miracle, and I'm not sure if anyone out there in the political world is going to be the one to deliver it. I think it's going to have to be a bottoms-up awakening and possibly an uprising. Not a violent uprising, but just an uprising of the mind, realizing the scam system that we're all living under right now. That's about all for today's update.